The St. Anne's family welcomes you.
So today,
Join us Sundays at 10 a.m.
Just like a couple months ago. So I usually like to trust that there's about a 3-year break in between when I preach the same gospel, because then I can kind of assume that y'all don't remember what I said last time. To be perfectly honest, I don't remember what I said last time. I mean, let's be real. But this one appears pretty frequently. So this one is our last kind of aha before we enter Lent. Lent starts this week. I better see you for pancakes on Tuesday and ashes on Wednesday. I know. Happy Lent! So the Transfiguration. This is known as the Transfiguration because Jesus transfigures. So it's a very logical name. Heads up, I'm on cold medicine. Yeah, right? It's kind of obvious. Yeah. Okay. Just because I could be more loopy than usual, which is really saying something, because you guys are pretty accustomed to pretty loopy. Okay, so Transfiguration. What I love about this is Peter. And you guys all know that I adore Peter, because Peter is kind of my bro here. And can I tell you a story? I'm going to anyway, so anyway, I mean, it's going to happen. Okay, so maybe a couple months ago, the vestry was meeting, and I was trying to convince them of something that I really, really wanted. A video camera, because I want to do video sermons. Yeah, I know. It's super exciting. And so I had, all these arguments for it and da-da-da. And they're like, yeah, we think this is a good idea. And I just kept going because, I've got all this evidence that I want to show you about, like, how great it's going to be. And finally, somebody says, why are you still talking? We already said yes. Why are you still talking? Would you believe that my principal has, like, the same line to me frequently? He's like, why are you still talking? Well, because I got a lot to say. And so this is why Peter is my bro. Because Peter and I have this same habit of we're still talking when we really should have stopped, like, back here. I know, right? Yes, absolutely. He's like, right on, Meg, you should really stop talking sometimes. And so this is a really powerful sermon for me because it's a reminder that we all need to sometimes stop talking and start listening instead. And y'all know Wesley. The one thing that Wesley has in common with her mother is that she doesn't stop talking. I know, right? And everyone here has ever been in a conversation with Wesley is like, dear God, yes. So would you like to know what I say to Wesley on a pretty frequent basis, actually? How many ears do you have? Well, 2. How many mouths do you have? 1. God did that on purpose because you should use the one twice as often as use the other one. Does it work? Yeah, she gets it. I mean, for like 5 minutes, and then, yeah. I mean, she gets the concept behind it. She and I are not terribly good about following it, mind you, but yeah, we get the concept. And so, really want us to hear that today, because here's what Peter does, because this is an overwhelming moment, right? It is the moment in which these followers see Jesus as he really, truly is. That he is on par with Moses and Elijah. That he, in fact, culminates all of them. That Moses and Elijah, who are the law and the prophets, they represent something here. Okay, so Moses is the law. Elijah is the prophets. And so there's this power and this realization that Jesus commands them. So if you're a friend of Jesus and you've been chilling out with him for a while and you're like, hey, we're good pals, and then you go up on a mountain and you see this, you can imagine how this is for them, right? And so Peter, in his nervousness, just keeps talking. And the important thing here is because that's kind of how all of us have a tendency to be. We have a tendency, especially when we're overwhelmed, to just keep talking because we think we know what our response is supposed to be. So humans have a habit of listening to answer, not listening to understand. There's a difference. And you all know that you've been in a discussion with somebody, I don't know, like somebody pretty close to you, maybe your spouse, maybe your kid, I don't know, just throwing those possibilities out there. And you're in a conversation, you really want to convince them of something, and they're talking, and you're busy coming up with your response is going to be because you got to think about it ahead because you want it to be brilliant. I mean, it's got to be cuttingly brilliant, right? So you're not listening to what they're saying because you kind of have a hunch of what they're saying, and it's stupid because you're going to, cut that down at the knees, right? And so you're coming up with what your response is going to be. You're not listening to understand. You're listening to come up with an answer. And that's Peter's problem here. Peter is busy talking about what his expectation of the right answer is going to be. So he comes up with this great proposal. We're going to build, because back in this time, we didn't build big churches. We kind of built a stack of rocks. Because, you want to commemorate the moment, but it takes a lot to build a church. Yeah. So when we're going to commemorate something, we build a little shrine to it, and frequently at this time it's kind of a stack of rocks. And so he's going to build these little shrines because he expects that that's the right answer. We're going to commemorate this powerful moment in which you're transfigured and we finally understand who you are, and it's going to be great. And he keeps going. And finally, it takes God for Peter. It takes God to be like, shut up! Why are you still talking? Kind of like the vestry to Meg. Why are you still talking? This is my son, the beloved. Listen to him. Stop talking. Listen. And y'all, we need to hear this because we're so busy with what our expectation of what church should be like, and our expectation of how we should be, and our expectations of how other people should be. We're so busy with the answer. We're so busy coming up with the right answer that we forgot to listen a long, long time ago. The message of the gospel today is stop. Stop. Just listen. Because chances are our expectations are wrong. Not to say that they're necessarily bad expectations. Most of us, go through life with the best of intentions. But they may not be the intentions that God calls us to. Looking at you, Peter. And so it takes us stopping for a moment to really, truly listen, to understand, to listen to be commanded, to be listened to be led. To stop answering, to stop talking, to listen to that still small voice within us. And that's what I ask us today. To remember the same thing that I say to a 6-year-old. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should only be using the one half as much as we're using the other. And God says it a little bit better than that in our gospel today, in our example of Peter. But the end message is the same. As we move into Lent, all of us are probably in that mode, or maybe it's just me, of thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do for my Lenten discipline? Oh my God. Anyone else in that boat? Everyone's like, hell no. Not in that boat, Meg. That's okay. Did you know that Lent's coming? Because if you say no, I'm not doing my job correctly. Okay, so Lent is coming. I do encourage some sort of Lenten discipline. I'm not necessarily one of those people who's like, oh, you got to give something up. Because I'm not sure that that's necessarily always the best way to go about a spiritual discipline, is to sacrifice something. Especially also because for a lot of us, you had the New Year's resolution and it didn't work out. And so you're like, oh my God, it's only 40 days. So it didn't work for New Year's. We're going to try it again for Lent. So I only got 40 days. Right? Anyone ever done? No, don't tell me if you've done that, actually. Don't raise your hand. So it's pretty common. And so for a lot of us, as we get ready to move into Lent, we're so busy with our expectations of what it should look like, what we should be doing. And we're so busy figuring all these things out that we never thought to stop and listen. Chances are there is something in a spiritual discipline that will help you to become a better Christian, to live your life in a more godly way. And it may be, I don't know, just maybe possible that prayer and reflection could be helpful. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Let's try it, shall we? So what I ask you as you get ready to move into Lent is to stop worrying so much. Stop thinking so much. Stop talking so much. Let's take a break and actually listen. Because the whole point of Lent is to prepare us for the cross, to prepare us for the resurrection, because you can't just go into that. It's too big. It's too big for us to just show up at Easter. The power of it is walking to the cross. To really, truly understand that, we've got to walk there. We've got to prepare for it. And that's what Lent is all about. It's preparation for Easter morning. So I ask you, when you start to think about a Lenten discipline, instead of, Googling best Lenten disciplines, how many days without chocolate to lose 15 pounds? It's more than 40. I'll tell you. Let's listen. Let's prayerfully consider what is going to help us be ready on Easter morning. Stop. Listen. Listen. Why are we still talking? You can say that to me right now, too. Go ahead, say it. Meg, why are you still talking? Meg, why are you still talking? Do you feel better? I thought you might. Let's stand together and say the words of the Nicene Creed. We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all that is seen and unseen.